Hey everyone, League of Leaders coming at you again today. We got Al Fragnoli and Zach Sutty. We're joined today by the Assistant Director of International Scouting for the New York Yankees, Brady LaRuffa. Brady, thanks for coming on with us today.
Thank you, guys. It's always great to catch up. I know Al, you and I keep in touch about once a month or so. Zach, it's been a while, so it's great to finally catch up with you.
Good to see you.
So I know everybody's getting anxious. We're just about a week away from the Major League Baseball finally resuming. Hopefully, we have a smooth transition here as they start their 60-game schedule this year. But I know a lot of people are looking forward to the start of the season. We had an interesting event that came out and was noted yesterday. The Toronto Blue Jays announced that travel into Canada could not occur. So it looks like the Blue Jays are trying to figure out where they're going to play some of their home games this year, and they're kind of in crunch time right now as they try and figure this out last minute. But obviously, there's still a lot of concerns about international travel. Brady, you being an international scout, what are some of the challenges that some of these scouts internationally are facing right now at the moment with COVID-19?
I mean, right now, from the amateur perspective internationally, there's a halt on in-person scouting. There's a lot more to lose than there is to gain with trying to go out and see players, and a lot of countries that are still trying to battle this thing. So right now, it's it's just scouting video, conversing with players, trying to do your homework on guys that you have interest in. So there's no one's traveling to a ballpark and going to see a game. No one's traveling to a field to see a game. It's interesting you bring up what's going on with Toronto, because that's a prime example of how difficult baseball is on the global landscape. You know, our jobs are, as for example, as for scouts, find the best talent, acquire the best talent. There's so much more that goes into being able to do that when you start peeling back the layers logistically and really trying to make sure that you can get to that point to go see the best players and then sign the best players. Examples like traveling out. Any country you go to, do you need a visa? How long does it take to get that visa? How far do you have to plan ahead to get that? What are the climates like in that country? And not so much like the weather, but political and economical and social. Is there unrest in the country? Are you going to put yourself at risk if you go somewhere? Now in our world, with health and safety being the utmost priority, there's plenty of places throughout the world now, if you travel to, before you can even go to work, you're going to be quarantined for 14 days. Taiwan's still signing players from the United States to go play in their league right now, but they can't set foot on the field for 14 days. Once they go over there, they have to quarantine before they can join their club. So I'm sure that's going to be stuff that's going to carry on here in the future, and that's stuff we're going to have to take into account whenever we do get back on the road. So it's going to be very interesting to see the more layers we're going to have to peel back down the road.
So Brady, exhibition started yesterday. Regular season starts, I believe, next weekend. What are your thoughts on the 60-game season? Is that enough? I know it wasn't ideal for owners or players. What are your thoughts on the 60-game season?
I think you can probably pick it and go back and forth. Whether you think it's enough, it's fair, it's not fair. I think one thing probably everybody can agree on, it's going to be really exciting. It's going to be really exciting to get down to probably the last 2 or 3 weeks, and there's going to be a bunch of teams in it. It's going to be tough if you struggle out the gate and you set yourself up, to really have to climb up the wall. But if you play good baseball and you stay in it, and a lot of teams do, and hopefully they do, because it's got a chance to be really, really exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to a 60-game season. I think, like you said, almost every team can be in it as long as they don't start too slow out of the gate. So we've seen these exhibition games, empty stadiums. I think the Mets had some cardboard cutouts in the stands.
Yeah.
How much do you think playing in an empty stadium is going to affect the players' mental health, and will this season challenge players even more mentally?
Yeah, I think it's just the circumstances they're playing under is probably going to be a challenge in and of itself. I don't know how much the empty stadium is going to really, create, some sort of adverse environment for players to play in. All these guys have played in empty stadiums before, and it's really similar to when, a player from a large college program signs and goes to play in the Gulf Coast League or plays in short season. He goes from playing Friday, Saturday nights in front of maybe 10,000 people to maybe playing in front of 500. And everyone's played the minor leagues before. It might be a decade or, more since some guys have, but it's definitely going to be weird at first for some guys. I think they've done it before. They're all professionals that can adapt to their environment. So I think it's not going to pose as big of an issue for players as some people might think. I think some of the stuff that might actually get to them is just the conditions that they have to play under, in terms of the quarantine, in terms of, the being away from their families for so long, being able to, not, congregate downstairs at the hotel and grab a cup of coffee. That might not be allowed when guys go on the road. So I think some of that extra stuff might be what drives some guys a little wild at times. But
obviously, there's been no scouting that's gone on for the last couple months since March, as all this has went down. Scouts are just starting to get back into the groove of things. How are they adjusting to finding talent? Because as we talked about earlier, you were mentioning that the travel is still restricted and you're still not allowed to do a lot of international travel. So how are you able to find some of the talent that's still out there?
A lot of our guys are getting emails with video or text message with video of players that, certain academies have, certain trainers have. So we're still able to follow players, just not in person. It's obviously not ideal, but it at least allows our guys to continue to follow up on guys that they have interest in, to, watch progress of players that, maybe they weren't really on a radar for a scout or for a team, but they've progressed, and, see maybe if guys are going the other way and going backwards, and also new players who have just come on board and started to develop and start to pick up the game and become good follows. So hopefully much sooner or later we can get back on the road and, get to a ballpark and see guys in person. But it is challenging. I mean, there's only so much you can do off of video. There's only so much you can gauge. Data's been a huge part of the operation for many clubs. But without being able to go see a guy, you can't really collect anything. So we can only really go off of what we have historically on players right now. But again, hopefully much sooner than later, and when the time is right and when it's safe for us to do so, we can get back at it.
Awesome. Great stuff. Thanks a lot, Brady. We know you got a busy schedule today, so we thank you for just giving us a little bit of your time this morning to chat with us about baseball and where we're headed, and the Major League Baseball season starting up next week. Everybody we know is very, very excited. We know you're excited to get back into scouting and doing some more travel. We wish you the best of luck. Stay safe. And have a great time. Good luck with getting back to the grind of things out there. And we look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks again, Brady.
No, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. And hopefully we can all get together soon and catch up more and continue some of these discussions. I think what you guys are doing is great. I'm excited to keep following you and see you guys have on. I think it's great for the industry of sports and just to keep learning and growing as individuals in every profession. I think what you guys are doing is awesome.
Thanks, Brady. Great seeing you.
You too, man.
Again.
Take care.
Right,